Hey guys, I don't know if you knew it or not, but we actually do sell t-shirts here for the YouTube channel. Now, I know you guys may like being nude, but here in the real world, we like wearing clothes. And what better way can you do that? By buying one of our t-shirts. So go to teespring.com and pick any of the shirts that you see us wear on the show, and you can be like us, not nude. Hi guys, welcome to the Rule of Two, where the Star Wars news saga continues. I'm Terrence.
I'm Art.
I'm Danny.
Over in the background. Yes, so we got something special for you guys today. Instead of doing news today, we thought we'd do something fun because news is a little light for Star Wars. I thought, since we've always had this running debate between me and Art about which is better, the prequels or the sequels.
Whoa. Crazy. Which is worse?
Which is There you go. Which is worse? And by the way, the prequels, all three of them, and the sequels, all three of them have been on You Don't Hate. So have been on You Don't Hate. So I mean, you got a really good point there. So we are gonna have a full debate. We're gonna time it though to make sure that we don't ramble too long on it. We're gonna have a full debate based on based on categories that Manny's gonna give us from the background. As far as how we are going to support those particular categories, and we're going to let you guys decide in the comments which is better, the prequels, or which is worse, the prequels or the sequels.
Just to be clear,
Okay.
I said from the very beginning, I didn't want to do the You Don't Hate on the sequels.
Like, that's why you weren't in them.
Yeah, exactly. Because I do hate them.
But we don't. We don't. You don't hate.
So here we go. So this is going to be a master debate.
Master.
And I hope that you guys are ready because we are going to start with the plot
The plot.
of the prequel trilogy versus the plot of the sequel
So
trilogy.
are we looking overall?
Overall, if you
Okay.
want to go individual, we go individual. If you want to do that, we can do that right now.
Okay. I mean, no, we can go overall. The storyline.
Yeah, all three carried across.
Okay, so let's start. Terrence, you're going to go first.
Of course, I'm gonna go first.
That's right. Which one had the better plot, the prequel or the sequel, and why?
1 minute going? All right, cool. All right, so the reason why, because by the way, I'm defending the sequels. I don't know if we even made that.
I think it was pretty clear.
All right,
People realized.
All right, cool. So anyway, so the reason why the sequel plot and the overall story was better than the prequels, one, it was not boring. It was at least something that was exciting and something that you were looking forward to. With the prequels, they were just kind of filling you in on some backstory. The sequels were giving you something new and a new story and a new branching way to go. Something we already had determined what the prequels were. We had already determined the storyline and we knew where the characters had already come from in the backstory of the original trilogy. So the prequels were basically just rehashing old stuff. The sequels were giving me something new, giving me a new character and showing me her arc, showing me other different people that were somehow related to some of the old people. But there's new character arcs that were going on. It was a new branch in the whole legacy of Jedi and legacy of Force users. And that is why I believe the sequel trilogy.
All right. Art, your turn.
All right, so new isn't better. New is just different. Different is not always better. Let's just be clear on that. So Disney bought Star Wars, right? And so they did away with all of everything that was already, we knew what was going to happen. So just because it was new doesn't mean it was better. When we received the prequels, we had been waiting 2 decades, right? 15, 20 years from the very first one to come out. Now, after all this time, we get to see our imagination. There's no scene whatsoever in the sequels that the prequels had. Like, one example is when we saw the Jedis in the arena, and all the Jedis, all of a sudden, you just see all these lightsabers come out, right? And there, you cannot deny how exhilarating that was as a fan. We had seen lightsabers here and there, right? 1 or 2, a battle here or there. But when we saw that many Jedi all at once, your heart just went crazy. Fans went fanatic over that scene. right? That's just one example. The only thing people hate is Jar Jar Binks.
You reached your time limit. By the way, I want to say that for the prequels, we actually waited 15 years for the prequels, so you can't use that 2-decade thing for the sequels because we almost waited the same amount of time for the prequels.
That's a good point. Now,
But we were already used to waiting that long.
Oh!
I'm actually going to give the point to Art, and here's why.
Okay.
Because the plot for the sequels was not consistent.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say
Actually, we never discussed plot at all.
well, because it was trying to cover 3 films, so I figured it was kind of.
So did the prequel. But the prequel gave you a slow build to what was going on to the point where even at the end.
With trade agreements.
Listen, and it did have Darth Maul in the pod race. Was pretty cool.
We're not talking about action scenes.
But you're right, and we'll get there. But I'm just saying that from a plot standpoint, there was going to be a beginning, that middle, and a really an ending that was going to pay off.
Okay.
Sequel trilogy did not do that. It kept changing, whether it was different characters or not. It didn't matter.
I knew it wasn't gonna win that point. That's fine. I knew it wasn't gonna win.
Art gets the point. All right, here we go. The characters of the prequel trilogy versus the characters of the sequel trilogy. Art, you go first this time.
Okay. I'll wait for the timer, the official timer.
Nope.
All right. Characters from the sequels. Oh my God. First of all, let's just say, okay, everybody was all up in arms, right? With Jar Jar Binks. Let's just rule that one out, right? Let's not use Jar Jar Binks as the only argument of why they suck.
Racist.
Okay? That's biting into my minute time. Okay. So, Darth Maul. Dude, besides Vader, name me one other Sith that you're like, dude, that guy is just... I mean, Darth Maul was just a character that they wrote, right? It wasn't nothing in any other. It stuck out. Everybody was so excited also to see Obi-Wan. Like, oh, how was Obi-Wan in the future, right? Or excuse me, in the past, because all we saw him was an old man, right? So when we got to see the build-up, we got to see the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan. We saw how powerful Obi-Wan really was. We got to see Qui-Gon, Mace Windu. All these characters that really stand out, even to this day, we still talk about. There's nothing in the sequels that you can even say, maybe Kylo? At that point, maybe.
All right. Terrence, your go.
All right, so let's go ahead and trash the prequel characters because there's no good ones.
What?
It's Obi-Wan is the only good. Obi-Wan, and I'll kind of give you Darth Maul, but Darth Maul was in it for like 5 seconds.
Exactly. How impactful was that one character?
I'm sorry. Are you in my time again? Here, don't tell me anything. I'm on my time limit. So it's like all the characters of the sequel trilogy were amazing. Finn was seeing what it was like to be a stormtrooper. We're gonna work our way up. Poe Dameron was the best thing since Harrison Ford had come out. It was like that dude was cool. He was like charismatic. That's like you love his character. Getting into Rey, seeing a new Jedi, seeing somebody with a different outlook on what it's like to be a Force user. Then we get into some of the villains. Then we get into Kylo. Dude, Kylo is the best thing since Vader. He is the best thing going on since Vader. Everything that they did, Anakin was horrible and boring and badly miscast. And it was like everybody that was worthwhile in the prequel trilogy, they killed off, except for Obi-Wan. Nobody else was left over. Obi-Wan's the only one that carried that whole franchise.
Okay, for just to get in this, I would love to make an impact on anything in 5 seconds. All right. All right. So honestly, I'm gonna give the point to Terrence on this.
What? There's no way.
All your characters died in the first movie.
That was the way it was supposed to have gone. That's exactly.
Here is why. Because the majority of the characters in the prequels, we've already met in the original trilogy.
They were living on the backs of everything that happened in the original trilogy.
Oh, really? The sequels had to regurgitate everything.
The sequel trilogy had Rey, Poe, Finn. I mean,
yeah, how memorable is Finn?
He's memorable.
He is the only.
He did nothing.
He did nothing. Bro, that's a stormtrooper.
He did nothing in episode 8.
By the way, you want to know who did nothing in episode 2? Qui-Gon. You know who did nothing in episode 2? Darth Maul.
Darth Maul's character carries across.
The point that I'm making is.
And by the way, Julius Jedi is not gonna work. It's not enough to carry that trilogy.
Purple lightsaber. Come on now.
Yes. And his purple lightsaber, it says bad motherfucker.
Purple Rain Jedi does not carry that whole
Come on
trilogy.
now, y'all know.
When it comes to originality,
We've been robbed.
Which is a shock because, you know, the prequels get such crap about trying to mimic the original trilogy. But when you're looking at the overall introduction of brand new characters, the sequel trilogy did more than the prequel.
New isn't better.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, that's the whole point. Is you said which is better.
Because they were already introduced, except with the exception of
Really?
Anakin.
Had you
Moderator, you've already made your decision. You don't have to explain it to me.
All right, here we go. The vehicles.
Oh, the vehicles?
The vehicles of the prequel trilogy versus the vehicles of the sequel trilogy. Terrence.
All right, so obviously the sequel trilogy vehicles win because your vehicles were all just CGI created things. They weren't actually there. They actually just stood around with green screens. We at least got to step foot back on the Millennium Falcon. We actually got to. What other? You don't even have many vehicles, but you know what? The vehicles. I will say from the vehicles that they did show, they weren't as iconic as the original trilogy. But I will still argue, what do you really remember from the prequel trilogy? You remember that one jet from Coruscant that they flew in that did nothing. It didn't even have a fight or battle scene. At least everything that you saw from the Millennium Falcon coming back, from the ship that Rey was in, from all the things they kind of went back and forth through when traveling to planets and not really fighting on. But at least they were actual they were actual vehicles, and everything wasn't about like, hey, we're here on this one planet. The next thing you know, we're on another planet.
All right.
I had a hard time with that. I didn't know you were going to go with vehicles.
All right, let's just be clear. There was no new vehicle in the sequels that really stood out.
All right.
The sequels sucked so bad, let's just say from a vehicle standpoint, that they had to recall all the vehicles from the 3 successful films.
Maybe they should have done that in the prequels.
Hey,
moderator.
Sorry.
You know what's bad when we both agree on that one. All right, so on the prequels, first of all, you get these freaking these big spears that the trade ambassadors are using to use the blockade.
Oh yeah,
I
so
get a little extended time because you interrupted my time. So you get these big, massive ships that traveled there, right? Okay. Then you get the underwater vehicles that we hadn't seen before. We hadn't seen any vehicle traverse underwater, right? Then you get the droids, all the ships that they used, the battle droids, how they came down, how the battle droids that they were carried on. Come on now. This was all freaking great vehicles that stood out that we hadn't seen before. The sequels had nothing. Nothing. Maybe a troop transport carrier that you had already seen.
Okay. Am I gonna say something now? Okay.
Yes,
great.
you can say it.
All right.
Now we give you permission to speak.
I am actually gonna give this to Terrence too.
What?
You had one CGI vehicle.
Kylo Ren.
Oh yeah, Kylo shuttle.
The one that you didn't mention. The one that you didn't mention. Moderator, no. Now you're being biased.
I'm being honest. The Kylo Ren shuttle is awesome.
So wait.
You got the Gorilla Walker.
Wait, moderator.
By the way, I looked at it and I couldn't remember the damn name.
Hold on. The
Walkers.
moderator shouldn't show his opinions on what it is.
Moderator, please give us your decision.
It's only based off of what we're saying.
All right,
Moderator,
here we
next question.
go. Next one. Which one had the better lightsabers? Trilogy or sequel trilogies?
The better lightsabers. This is on you.
All right.
Terrence, Art, go
Yeah.
first.
All right. Hi, tú. Bilingual.
Dale, go.
I'm waiting for my official time to start.
Go.
All right. So,
Go ahead.
you know the lightsaber. Everything was new in freaking... Okay, so we had a regular lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
We had only seen 2 lightsabers.
Okay.
In all of the original 3, right? Mm-hmm. So we hadn't seen any reason. We didn't know the reasons of the multicolored of what the purposes of the lightsabers serve. Mm-hmm. We had never even seen a double-bladed lightsaber before, right? Mm-hmm. It was all great. It was just our imagination going crazy. Even to this day, people, then any Comic-Con you go to, all sorts of variations of lightsabers that we hadn't even thought about before, right? The comics didn't even explain any of that. This was really cool stuff that was brought in, that was being created. Even the quality of the lightsabers, they don't make, you don't see, if you were to go to like on Saberforge, various different sites, you don't see any sequel lightsabers. It's all either prequel, or the original 3, or a variation of. Right? You had never even thought Yoda was gonna have a lightsaber. Come on now, a little mini lightsaber that like stuck out. Count Dooku's curved hilt lightsaber.
Yeah, it's all about that curve. All right, Terrence, go.
All right,
Kylo's right.
So hold up. Let's talk about the prequel lightsabers. One, it's basically just an assortment of colors. None of those lightsabers stuck out.
They mean something. The colors mean something.
I'm sorry, you're in my 1 minute here. All of them were just a different variation of color. They barely meant anything unless you looked into the expanded universe as far as what the different saber crystals would have meant. But also, the one that actually stands out,
Kyber crystals.
the only one that actually stands out as something like new and different is the stupid erectile dysfunction Count Dooku lightsaber. Nobody cares about that. Nobody carries that lightsaber at any function. Oh, don't say anything. Nobody carries that lightsaber at any function because nobody wants it. Every other lightsaber looked exactly the same. At least in the sequel trilogy with Kylo's lightsaber, it was something completely different. And it showed what it's like to not be a trained Sith or Jedi and what they would do to make their own. It brought back the fact of Vader and Luke and their lightsabers throughout the whole trilogy. You got iconic lightsabers, something absolutely new. You can't beat that.
Okay, well, one.
Erectile dysfunction.
I'm all about Darth Sialis.
Darth Sialis.
All right, so I'm going to give the point to Art on this one.
What?
This is the first time that we ever saw a double-bladed.
He didn't even say that.
It doesn't matter. That's the same argument.
There you go.
About Kylo shuttle, so I don't
There you go. All right, I'll give you that,
All
even though
right, so
I was hoping you didn't say it because I didn't have an argument for that.
Yeah, so Darth Maul-
You know, to be fair, real quick, to be fair, our arguments really make no point because he's already decided which side he's going with. So it's really not a debate.
And
It's just
he'll
us-
bring up the stuff we forget anyway.
Yeah, and he's like judging his points are based off of his personal opinion.
All right.
But the double-bladed lightsaber was brand new. Nobody had ever seen that before. Palpatine's lightsaber was the design of Palpatine's was also pretty freaking sweet.
So you really can tell me what it looks like. Tell me what it looks like. Tell me what it looks like. Tell me what it looks like.
It was curvy too. It was Cialis. It wasn't Sidious. It was Cialis. I'm telling you. And then Count Dooku's was also a different design. You never saw.
It looks like
before.
he was
Now, on
looks like he was
Terrence-
old. That lightsaber reflected his
On
age.
Terrence's, and then obviously the purple one. You never freaking seen that before. But to your point, Kylo also, yeah, you never saw the freaking.
You never saw.
You never
It's
saw
like
the guards.
everybody's lightsaber in the prequel trilogy was like, okay, cool. Let's figure out like a Crayola
Even
box of
Dark-
lightsabers.
Even Dark Ray.
I'm
Even
just gonna
Dark
ask a
Ray's-
question between the three of us.
Yeah, we
one
didn't
of
say
y'all-
that, damn.
Which one of y'all actually has a lightsaber that is a studio grade quality?
I have a lightsaber. I'm sorry, I can't ball like you.
I'm just saying, which one of the three of us, which one owns? So which one visits, various different
Gentlemen.
sites to build their own lightsabers?
Who has 3 Star Wars helmets in his room right now?
They're all the cheap plastic ones.
Okay. All right, here we go.
All right.
Terrence, you're up next.
and 3
Saber
different Lego
fights.
sets.
The saber fights in the prequel trilogy versus the saber fights in the sequel trilogy.
Okay, so
Go.
let's get out there. Let's just throw it out in the open. It's like, I know he's going to go Duel of Fates because we all love Duel of Fates. I'll give you that one. That was a great saber fight for the prequel trilogy. But you know what? Y'all petered out. Y'all didn't have anything else after that. Everything else was pretty... Everything was pretty boring and to the point. Everything in the prequel trilogy, even from the very beginning when we had the kind of like wild lightsaber fight with Rey, don't give me that, with Rey, with Rey and Kylo at the very beginning, it was raw, it was energetic, and it was like you kind of felt the passion that was in it. That was a great lightsaber fight. When we get further on into the trilogy, when you see like the lightsaber fight that happened in Snoke's throne room, come on! Whether it's against everybody that's in there and it's against themselves. Dude, come on, that was a great lightsaber fight. And then we move on to the lightsaber fight between Rey and Kylo. Come on, these are great lightsaber fights. The only thing you have in the prequel trilogy is the Duel of Fates. There is nothing else that went on in the prequel trilogy besides the Duel of Fates that could beat anything that was going on in the prequel trilogy. Don't be trying to help him out, moderator.
All right.
I was letting
Go ahead, Art.
I was letting the child ramble on because I just need to bring up a few great points.
Go ahead.
Okay, let's start with episode 1.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Duel of Fates.
one of the best. That was the first time we saw an actual lightsaber fight. The first time. The ones that we saw in the original 3 were kind of slow, boring. It wasn't as choreographed, right?
Right.
So you have this amazing lightsaber battle, right? That wasn't the only one. That's just the first one that's memorable. Okay? Episode 2, you had various different lightsaber moments. Okay?
Name him?
Dooku.
Oh God, I hate that one.
What?
Against Yoda?
Against Yoda.
He was basically
no
just
one
twisting
even,
it
everybody,
around.
no, whatever. Everybody just like blew, minds were blown when Yoda pulled out his little lightsaber. Ying, right? And great battle. Okay, episode 3 had memorable, I won't say Mustafar because even though Manny's adamant to bring up Mustafar, which is an amazing lightsaber battle, you also had numerous ones on the ship.
Timer.
Now,
No, you go ahead.
every episode had multiple, while yours only had one each film.
I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree.
I'm giving this one a heart.
It sucks, dude. It's like, look, the Dooku one, all he did was just kind of flail around. And the biggest gripe about the prequel trilogy is that all the fights were over choreographed. They were over choreographed.
The Anakin Obi fight on Mustafar was the best, more than likely the greatest fight.
I would agree.
Lightsaber fight ever in the Star Wars. But I will give you the throne room scene because that is absolutely amazing.
I'll give you that as the second best if you can tell me the name of the guards.
They were, oh God.
Come on. I'll give you a hint. Starts with a P.
Yeah.
Exactly, folks. See, who are you gonna trust?
Sorry, I'm not good with names.
Here we go. Battle scenes. Art, go first.
Oh man, battle scenes. Okay. Even though as much as people want to rag on Jar Jar Binks, right? Battle scene.
Yeah, trade agreement battle scene.
Battle scene with the droids and the army. We're like, the heck is going on? It was just fun to watch. At no time were you like in the battle scene watching like, oh, this is the worst movie ever. No, you may not have liked Jar Jar Binks, but let's leave that aside. Okay. The second film. Okay, when they're in space and it's Anakin and Obi-Wan and they're flying through the ships and just going through all this crazy stuff. Amazing fight scenes, right?
Okay.
With the ships in space, you hadn't seen that before. Okay, it was new. It was better.
Okay. Time.
Oh, I ran out of time because I went slow because there's no need to. There's no need to rush and cram it in there.
Terrence, battle scenes, go.
Excuse me. All right, let's start with the first one. One of the best battle scenes in the first one was the simple fact when we got the new trench run on the new planet when Kylo
It
showed
wasn't
up.
so new. It was regurgitated.
Sorry, when Kylo showed up in his new shuttle and seeing the shuttle fight, it was like those are great scenes. One of the better ones is in Episode 8 when we got to see that whole the light speed fight where they were going in and out of light speed. That was a great battle, and the whole into it was like something that like blew your mind. It's like you can't really take away, you can't really look over that battle scene because that was something completely new and completely out of the box for Star Wars. And we move on to Episode 8. If we're looking at just battle scenes, we look at the speeder in the desert run that they went through. That like we talk about the speeders from the original prequels and how fast and everything was going. This was basically doing that plus 100. And it was so much frenetic fury and things going on. It was like that was a great battle scene. And they had walkers there too.
All right. This was tough, but I'm going to give this one to Terrence. Because
your trade agreements. I'll give you that. Like when the droids came down.
Fight in the boardroom.
Yeah, when the droids came down,
battle scenes in the
it
boardroom.
seemed like it was gonna be a great battle scene, but then Jar Jar ruined it by tripping over everything, and he screwed up that battle scene.
I think you're forgetting Episode 2, the space.
No,
that entire 40 minutes. There's an entire 40 minutes of nothing but amazing action.
Even the beginning of Episode 3, I'll give you that. And everything that happens, what is it, in Kashyyyk? When the big battle scene for Order 66? Great scene too. All of that whole Order 66 was great.
Mm-hmm. When he killed the kids.
Shit, I might forget
when he killed the kids.
But the battle scenes in the sequel trilogy, even when they're at Mos Kanata's and everybody.
That's why the sequels.
It was freaking awesome. You gotta give them that.
That's why the sequels were movies and the prequels were films.
And never did we ever see a hyper space
Yeah.
fight? You've never seen that.
You've never seen it.
It's very slight. They're very close.
It's never seen it.
But I'm gonna give this one to Terrence, and this is gonna be really freaking easy for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Which trilogy had the best ending?
Let me think of how I'm gonna defend this. Don't hit the button yet. God bless. All right, go.
All right, go, Terrence.
All right, look, I'm not gonna lie about this. the ending to the sequel trilogy is flawed. I will give you that. But I will say that, look, at least it is a definitive ending. It is a definitive ending to where we know where, like, this Skywalker legacy is done and it's over with.
Do we?
We know it's done and it's over with. And in a sense, it was satisfying because we actually have a legit ending to for Palpatine and the Sith, more or less in general, and we kind of branch off to something new. It gives us hope for something new, as in the original trilogy gave us hope for something new. In the prequel trilogy, it was basically just a setup to say, hey, this was the bad guy, and then they kind of forced the ending upon you in the prequel trilogy by saying, like, hey, this fight happened, hurry up, make him Vader. That's all it was. It was like they literally just went from fight to, like, I'm evil today and I'm Vader now, and then get ready for episode 4 if you want to rewatch it. That's all they did in the prequel trilogy. They didn't end it well, even though mine is not that great of an ending. It's still, like, it's better than prequels.
All right, go.
Okay. Let's dismiss everything you said because it's all flawed. The fact that you had to hesitate and say, in a sense,
it's not a great ending.
It was a good ending. In a sense. No. Let's just be clear.
But it's better than your ending.
And let's just focus on the exact ending. That fight scene that we saw Anakin convert from being a Jedi to a Sith, becoming Vader. That last bit where we saw him take out the younglings, right? When we saw him just kill innocent little kids, right? When we saw Order 66 being executed and we felt, you didn't just see Jedi die. You felt it. You knew watching it, you were like, damn, these guys are cold, right? When the clones, we had heard how everything happened, but to see it being played out was just by far one of the best parts. And also the fight scene on Mustafar where we saw how badass Obi-Wan is and what made Anakin that angry person. Come on now.
And the winner of this master debate is Art. I gotta agree with Art on this completely. You know that the ending of Revenge of the Sith, the third act, compared to the third act of Rise of Skywalker, there's no comparison.
I didn't even want to mention the horses riding in space.
Yeah. The third act versus Revenge of the Sith was amazing. That was the way you cap off the slow build. Yeah. So prequel trilogies win. Sequel trilogies. Sorry.
Put it in the comments below. Tell me what you guys think.
Let's just be clear. I'm going to be a very bad winner. And I'm going to be certain that we refer to them as the prequel films and the sequel movies. Okay?
Put it in the comments below. Tell them they're wrong. This is a bad decision.
You tell us which ones. Maybe there are some points. Although I did win, and I'm a bad winner because I'm a bad mamma jamma.
If you didn't fall asleep,
we do know that Manny is biased with all his opinions.
You won. How is he biased? You won.
Because I want our viewers to tell us something different.
All right.
I did tell you I was a bad winner.
All right. That's right. Put it in the comments below, guys. Please tell us how you feel about that. Please let them know that they were wrong in their decision and that you guys stand on my side, the right side, with the sequel trilogy. If you haven't already, please subscribe as well as click the notification button so that way you're aware of all the other videos that we do on the channel. We may do this more often. Maybe we'll branch it out to maybe do something like a little kumite. We won't. But
well, next we'll discuss which is the least worst Resident Evil film.
Maybe. I kind of like to keep it Star Wars because the Star Wars the Star Wars movie news is pretty light. So I feel like this is a great way to kind of debate on some things in the Star Wars universe. Say your goodbyes, Art.
Hey guys, don't forget to follow us, like us, do all that good stuff to us. Tell us which ones that he was really wrong on. Because either way, although the biased moderator, I still won. I should have won easily, handed down.
You're asking for a sweep. Is that what you're?
Yes, I want a sweep. I ain't content with just
Not
winning.
gonna happen. For Aspen and Carla, wherever the hell they're at, I'm Manny, Terrence, Art. See you next time.
May the force be with you.
And also with you.
Wait, guys, are you still here? I'm glad you're still here. All right, so if you look down, I mean, it's somewhere over here. Look down. We actually have a Patreon. So if you guys watch the show and you really like what we want to do and you want to help support the show and you want to help me get an editor so I can get to sleep at night because I'm really tired and you guys see all my mistakes in the episodes. So please go to patreon.com/thegoods. Give us a penny, give us a nickel, give us $1.
Just don't give us the finger.
Don't do that. But make sure you do donate something because we do have some giveaways. There's posters, there's t-shirts, there's...
I'll sign something for you.
Exactly. So take a look, guys, and help us out. We appreciate it.